When was the last time that you had a medical expense that made you feel like the system was actually working for you? Not against you, but for you. Before I show you, what we did, what I'm talking about, I need you to feel what most people do because this is probably closer to your life. I know it was my life than maybe we want to admit. Average American entrepreneur family is paying somewhere between $1,500 and $2,500 a month for health insurance. This year in 2026, we're going to be bumped up to $2,400 a month. That's $28,800 a year just to have access to a system that tells you which doctors you can see, who's in your provider's list, who's out of coverage, what facilities you can go to. Last Tuesday, I had my hip replaced. Many of you know that, some didn't. And I want you to sit for a moment with that sentence. Not the surgery part, the money part. Because somewhere in this room, I know this because I used to be this person. Someone just heard hip replacement and their brain immediately went to, wow, same place that my brain used to go. How'd you pay for that? What insurance do you have? What was the deductible? What gets sacrificed while you recover? How long are you going till you get back to normal financially? How long is it going to take to recover? And that used to be my first thought too. It was always this fear of needing insurance and having the coverage just for when something happened. And over the next 30 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly why this wasn't my first thought last week. Why it felt more like getting ready for an Ironman, of having fun in the morning because of what Patty and I have been figuring out over the last 6 months. It's a game changer. It's something as entrepreneurs, and if we got entrepreneurs in a group, throw an E in the chat, but it's something that was always weighing on me and always frustrating me. And because of what we changed and the changes we're making, and again, they're not minor changes, but they have major impact. And here's what I want you to stay for, not the final numbers, because this process is messy. It's still happening. We're still going through it. There's super bills involved. There's other insurance involved. There's two-step authentications. There's all this stuff. But at the end, by the end of the year, I'll have every dollar on the table to show you. But today, there's enough proof already in what we're implementing, what we're doing. And it's all by using a system built for us. And so stay with me to the end. I don't want you to miss any of this. And I want you to think about this question. When was the last time that you had a medical expense that made you feel like the system was actually working for you? Not against you, but for you. Before I show you, what we did, what I'm talking about, I need you to feel what most people do because this is probably closer to your life. I know it was my life than maybe we want to admit. The average American family, average American entrepreneur family is paying somewhere between $1,500 and $2,500 a month for health insurance. This year in 2026, we're going to be bumped up to $2,400 a month. That's $28,800 a year just to have access to a system that tells you which doctors you can see, who's in your provider's list, who's out of coverage, what facilities you can go to, what the deductible is going to be. And you don't have any idea like how much it's costing overall and if you're going to need it. And like most people, we were paying it every month. And I was calling it being responsible. And every money meeting, it was frustrating me because every year I see that going up and up and up. And as we focus on our health and our doctor visits go down and down and down, that disparity between what was happening and what we were paying for was driving me crazy. And so I want to ask you something. Like I said, it felt like I was being responsible, but who was I being responsible to? Who was I being responsible to? Think about that. Write that in the chat. Like, was that for our family that I was being responsible? Or was that for somebody else? And because when you realize that your money is going somewhere where it's not adding any value to your family, it's not even really fully protecting your family. And when the money leaves, it's gone. And it's every month. It's persistent, consistent. Like I said, every Tuesday I was getting frustrated. And in return, you get permission to use a system that is super messed up. Our health system is abysmal. I mean, it's some of the best doctors in the world, but it is not good. And what was normal to us, and what this pattern actually costs you. For us, it was $28,800 a year. I want you to think about what is it costing your family? And a deductible, that means that you're going to be paying out of pocket anyway for the first several $1,000s. And I remember the math of that. You'd sit down and say, well, I'll have a high deductible because I'm really healthy and I barely go to the doctor. Or maybe I want a really low deductible because I want to be able to plan and control. Like, which end of that spectrum were you on the high deductible, low deductible? Which one were you? High or low? Think of it in your head or write it in the chat. And you have no say in the pricing. There's no ability to negotiate. There's no control over, again, which doctor you're going to see, who the provider is. And zero of the money ever comes back to you or your family. And here's what happens when something actually goes wrong. The bills start arriving. You don't know anything until after it happens. You hit the deductible. We did this with my father-in-law. You hit the deductible almost, and then another emergency happens and you find out the deductible reset. No joke. Happened to us this year with a different insurance. Not the story today, but we're still living in some of that pain of being stuck in a system that you have no control over. You're paying whatever they tell you to pay, and then you end up financing it. If you can't afford it, you put it on care credit or something else. And then that cycle starts over again next January. And I've done this for so many times because I didn't know a better way. And what does this cost you when someone else controls the entire transaction? Where are the costs to all of you? And here's a belief that keeps people stuck. Now, not you guys, but most people out there, it keeps them stuck because the responsible move, again, is having good insurance and having a solid savings account. Like, those are two of the foundational things that we're taught as Americans. And I believed it, hook, line, and sinker. I believed it for years. It's what everyone was doing. It was a responsible thing to do as a husband and father. And here's what that belief is actually costing us in terms of dollars and cents. $2,400 a month, leaving our family forever. No idea if we'd ever need it, but it's $2,400 leaving. A savings account where you're earning next to nothing or nothing. There's actually a crazy ad I saw last night in a late World Cup game. If you guys are watching World Cup, awesome. But it was a Wells Fargo commercial. And when the person in the commercial saved, they like popped out of the closet and started celebrating and jumping on their bed and doing cartwheels and throwing confetti. And I thought, now the bank is celebrating us saving. Why? You know why. I don't have to say it. I don't have to give you the punchline. You've been around long enough to understand why the banks want the money sitting in there, how much money they make on our money. And it made me laugh. And then you have that feeling that you know that you're doing all the responsible things, but yet you're not getting ahead. And the false belief here is not that insurance matters. The false belief is that the traditional system is protecting you. That's the false belief, because it's not protecting you. It's doing the opposite. It's extracting from you every single month on schedule forever. And so the question is, when something actually goes wrong, you realize that you were just renting access to a system that was never yours and not set up for you to win. And the question's not like, we're not saying you don't need protection. You do. I believe you do, right? I believe if it's not protected and someone can take it from you or it can be taken from you, then it's not really yours. So we definitely want protection. It's about control and protection. The question is, who controls your money while you have it? And when we talk about changing one thing, this is something that's a constant topic in every single webinar. We're talking about, what if the money that you're sending every month out the door stayed in your family instead? And it's not sitting in that savings account earning you next to nothing. It's not locked up in some retirement account where you're going to get penalized because you can't touch it. It's not disappearing into premiums that never come back. It's actually in your family, working, it's growing, it's accessible, and it's still growing while you use it. And the system is just called the family banking system, especially engineered whole life. And most of you already know what this is, but if you don't, I just want to show you what this feels like. Before my surgery, even on our way to Connor's trip in Savannah, his field trip, Patty spent weeks on the phone. She called every billing department. She asked what the cash price was. We don't have insurance. We're self-pay. She negotiated. And negotiation might look like, give me the best deal you can give me. That worked for $600 from our anesthesiologist. She was able to get our number, the initial number of over $24,000 to replace this left hip, to just under 21. before we ever walked through the doors, before I ever walked in on the surgery day on June 9th. And then I took a proactive policy loan from our policy. I had Connor come sit with me actually. I showed him how to do it in 5 minutes. In 5 minutes, I had started the process to have all of that money accessible, ready to go within 5 business days. That's how long it took this time, 5 business days. And so the day of the surgery, when I got up, when I woke up at 4 a.m., and again, that's why I said it felt like a race day. It felt like I was getting up to be there and start before anyone else. But when I got up, I wasn't worried about anything, just getting there, getting ready, mentally preparing. We weren't scrambling. We weren't hoping that the savings account that we used to have would cover it. We walked in knowing exactly what was happening and exactly where every dollar was coming from. And that's not luck, right? Hope isn't a plan. This is a system working. And here's how it actually works and why it actually worked in this exact case study I'm sharing, like my real life study. We started this private reserve 4 years ago. We built this properly designed policy, and this reserve guarantees a contractual growth rate that's always going this way. It's better every single day, no matter what. And when you need the capital, you borrow against it like a line of credit. The reserve keeps growing while you use it. You repay on your terms, and you want to be an honest banker. I'm not telling you take a loan, don't pay it back. And then the cycle repeats. $1 doing multiple jobs at the same time. And the dollar that funded my surgery last Tuesday, we swiped the credit card for that 21 grand. That money is still growing inside our policy right now, still earning us a guaranteed contractual rate that's tax free. It didn't leave, it didn't get interrupted, it didn't stop. It's still working while Patty's chasing down the billing codes, chasing down the super bill. That's what it's called. And that's what the system's designed to do. And here's the part that most people never get to experience. We paid out of pocket, which means we controlled the pricing conversation. Cash pricing is real. People want cash. They want to be paid. It's a great way to operate when you're doing self-insured health insurance. And then we end up swiping a card, earning 2% back on the full amount. We'll never pay a cent of interest. And again, I said earlier, we switched our insurance to private model that we're paying less than $11,000, down from $28,800. That's over $17,000 that stayed in our family just by doing something that was uncommon. Does that sound familiar too? You see why I'm in love with what we're doing? And Patty's documenting all this. Every time she's on the phone, I'm saying, hey, document this. Make sure you understand what's happening, because I want you to feel the difference between the two words right on the screen right now. React, respond. Like, think about that. When you think about reaction, how's that usually go versus respond? A borrower, that's not any of you, but everyone out there that's not in the know, a borrower reacts to a $21,000 bill. They scramble for money. They borrow for money. They set up GoFundMes. They drain accounts that they've spent years building, and they commit the financial sin of all financial sins. They interrupt the compound interest. They put it on a card with no game plan. They keep transferring to a zero balance, hoping to pay it off before the interest grows, and doing that financial shuffle, moving money from one pocket to the other. And they start over. And it doesn't mean they're not responsible people. They're using a system that's not built for them. Where a builder, the builders respond. What you guys are doing, especially you practicing banking, right? You respond. You know that your system has already anticipated this moment. The money's already positioned. The loan is already available. The process of using it for your self-insurance, as messy as it already is, it's in motion. Same surgery, same bill, completely different experience of being alive. Completely different experience. I thought I was going to be really scared last week. Walking in, like Connor and Patty's biggest concern was, when is Jay going into surgery so we can get Panera? Dad, I'm hungry. Are you going to go back soon? That was it. And I want to be direct, as I always am. I've been asking that lately. Some of you have asked that question too before, some I haven't. I started asking in my calls every day, do I have permission to be direct with you? And I believe everyone's super excited when I ask that. And I don't mean I want to be mean and like yell at you and curse at you. I just want to be able to tell you the truth when I see patterns that aren't serving you. And what we're doing right now, the honesty in it is more valuable. Like this is why I didn't present it last week because I wanted to be more polished. And I thought, who cares? Who cares? Like the surgery was last Tuesday. It's only 9 days ago. Patty's still on the phone this week. After our money meeting this week, she's on the phone. She was speaking with Lady Wendy. Wendy came up. I had to do the authentication, my birthday, who I am, where I am, all these things, because the super bill that was sent to us didn't have all the right codes. Again, called a super bill. It's pretty easy to remember. And Patty got the permission. She got to act as and the lady's like, well, what's your wife's name? I was like, do you mean what I call her around the house or her real name? And I was just being funny with her, with Wendy. You have to have fun with the process. Patty's kind of gave me that sideways look like, what's wrong with you? Because I'm seeing what she's doing and I appreciate it so much. And I hope she's listening because the process is tedious. It's manual. Nobody hands you a guide on how to do this. Does it sound familiar? And that's why you're here every week learning and talking about real case studies and real things. But here's what we already know. Paid $21,000 for the hip last Tuesday. We earned $420 cash back on that transaction, 2%. The money came from a proactive policy loan that's already sitting there and waiting to pay off that credit card. And while it's waiting to pay off the credit card, it's actually keeping my daily balance down in my all-in-one HELOC, which is my segregated account. It's a system. It's a tool in the system. And our annual insurance cost a heck of a lot less, hell of a lot less than it did last year. And the reimbursement from the private insurance is coming. Every other doctor's visit I went to, we've got the reimbursement. We still got to run the numbers and see what percentage, but it's a large percentage, like over 80% of what we're submitting in that super bill is being reimbursed, what we paid out of pocket. This is why I want you guys to stay close to this community because we're going to keep bringing you things that are built to keep, that are built that you keep more of your money and then you multiply, right? Create, keep, multiply. And when the number comes back, when the complete picture of this surgery and what it costs, net everything, I'm going to bring it back here, every dollar. And I can't wait to share that. It's going to be a super cool episode, a super cool experience to share that with all of you. And I want you to think about this, like maybe answer this in the chat. I see we were ready at 3:03, but if you had any major medical expenses in the last few systems, what do you think it cost you to not have it run through your privatized system first? And for all of you, most of you here, I can see the names, most of you here are practicing, which is awesome. But for those of you who have been here, for those of you who've been around the community for months, I love knowledge, right? I love knowledge. Something can read books, read new things, invest in yourself. But if you've been around this and you believe it works and you haven't built it yet, what is it that is keeping you from moving forward? Because when I waited 18 months to get my system started, because I had a plan in my head rather than just starting, 18 months it cost me. That's a year and a half of uninterrupted compounding and protection that I'll never get back. And I just realized that like 2 weeks ago. I thought, oh man, I was all in as soon as I knew about this. Nope. I saved for 18 months so I could have a dump in. There, said it live. Didn't even realize it, said it live. But every month that you're paying $2,400 a month in insurance premiums, every month that your savings is sitting in the wrong container, every month that you're putting money in all these disparate, separate accounts, just in case something happens in one of those categories, is a month that uninterrupted compounding and protection, your dollar doing two things at once in a system you control, is not happening. Again, understanding the system is not the same as knowing it and using it. So building the family banking system requires the right policy structure, right? The right special engineering that's designed for access, not commissions. The right sequencing so your money's working from day one. So you're the one that's winning, the right strategy so every loan repayment rebuilds instead of drains. And most people will figure this out alone, usually get sold the wrong product. I had that call earlier, IUL 3 years in, barely any cash value, or spend years correcting a design that was never right from the beginning, right? So Chris jokes around and calls him from your broke ass brother-in-law. That's what happened on earlier call today. And it's going to cost that guy 3 years because the gap between understanding and building is where intentions go to die. And every month that gap stays open, it's costing. It's costing you not someday, right now, this month, or worse, in the future when urgencies and emergencies happen. And again, I understand if you haven't started, but how many months have you understood this and not built it? That's just something to reflect on. And again, from the beginning, I promised I'll continue to do this. I'm going to be direct. I'm bringing the jersey back a little bit. Not totally, because that guy was kind of a jerk. But again, you guys have been in the community for months. You understand the concept. You've heard the stories. You believe it works. And if you hadn't built it, it's another month where you're not having the things that you tell me you want to have. And so when we sit down, when we have a conversation, we're going to look at three things. We're going to look at where's your money going right now? Actually, first, we're going to say, where do you want to be? Where are you going in 3 years from now? And then we're going to see, where is your money going right now? Are you saving? How much do you make? Are you saving? And then we're going to figure out whether the family banking system, right, the specially engineered machine, is the right mechanism to close the gap. There's never a pitch. There's no sale. I don't really care if you move forward or not. Like, it's just me being direct, being honest, and showing you that pattern I talked about to solve your problems. And the calls for the person that felt something today, that felt, man, I don't want to be in a different situation than what Jason's sharing, where getting a hip replaced felt like it was race day, something to be excited about because we were ready. And the person who has been disciplined and consistent and still feels like they're not getting ahead, this is who this call is for. And again, it's a system that's built for you. If you're playing in a system built for them, then this is the call for you. If you're looking for a shortcut or you're looking for a way to follow something and hope that's going to get you rich quick, I'll say it was both the time. This is not that call. This is a commitment where me and my team, and I'm all in with you, all in every step of the way. I'm going to give you your team members you need, and we're going to make sure that this works as long as you work it. And like I mentioned, Patty's still on the phone this week. There's still more super bills to track down, but we know that reimbursement is coming. The second hip, I'm starting to move around pretty good. There's no walker next to me today. I don't have a cane. I'm getting around. I'm looking, feeling pretty spry. But when we have that final number, every dollar, we're going to bring it back to the community because this is not a theory we're selling. This is our life that we're living, that I'm sharing, and it's available to you. So if you haven't built your system and you want to have that conversation, you feel called to do it, scan the QR code. If you're already building your system, keep using it, keep understanding, keep investing in your time and energy. And let's build yours before that next urgency or emergency arise.